But I do feel like we need more law-abiding citizens with firearms. So when you hear people in the UK always talk about, well, at least, all students don't got to get killed in first period, or however the fuck they talk, I don't like them either.
They got mass stabbings out there.
Baked beans with toast for breakfast. Not even sweet.
They have mass stabbings out there. And then we see all the time that even without guns, people can still inflict mass terror. The dude in New Orleans ran over people. Like, what you're not asking for is you can't get rid of the weapon. You have to figure out why these people are doing it.
Yeah, and I was gonna find out. There's a video. I forget this police officer is. I'm trying to find it. He pulled somebody over. He was yelling like, "Stop reaching! Stop reaching! Stop reaching!" And dude in the car had a gun with a switch. Oh, you hear 23-year-old cop. Now, me personally, I'm not gonna give you 3 stop reachings. Mm-hmm. But another thing with cops are a lot more hesitant to pull the trigger, as you should be sometimes, but not so much so that it costs you your life.
Right. Well, that's because of public perception now. No matter what, now if a cop does something, it's bad.
Yeah.
Even if it's proved that the cop was justified in his actions, his or her action, they're still like, oh well, why did it have to escalate to that? Well, because the individual escalated it to it. Like, it's not like, don't get me wrong, there's some bad cops out there.
Plenty.
There's bad cops out there. But to say that it's a majority is crazy, but the good cops that are out there don't want to speak up because you rope them in with the bad cops. And then they're afraid to do their job because they're afraid to be perceived as a bad cop. And actually, in my undergraduate, we learned about that. It's called the Ferguson Effect. After what happened in Ferguson, I forgot the man's name that the cops killed. But police were afraid to proactively stop people because they were afraid to be perceived as bad. They were afraid to be perceived as racist. So in Ferguson, they had a situation where cops weren't responding to calls until the situation was over. And then they were just going there to get an incident report. Because they were afraid to be seen as racist, bad, all of that stuff. And then when we look at I have arguments with my left friends about this a lot as well. And when we talk about the defund the police movement, and they talk about, oh well, a social worker or a psychologist should go to like these domestic violence and these behavioral. I was like, those are the most dangerous calls.
Those escalate.
Domestic violences are the most dangerous cause a law enforcement officer can go to. Those are the ones that get cops killed the most.
Those, because they escalate so fast. Dude don't want to go. He get a gun, try to kill everybody. Domestic violence calls, and like the mental health. Mm-hmm. City of Los Angeles tried that nonsense a little bit. They're gonna have these psychologists come out and talk to these mental health individuals. And look, from somebody who works in a jail, and I see the people who come in, I give this breakdown to people all the time. Of all the people I see get arrested, of all the inmates I deal with, if you take the whole, you have about...
Sorry, I don't understand.
Damn, Siri. Of all the people that go to jail, about 50% are like mentally ill or on drugs. Mm-hmm. That's about 50%. If I had to guess, this is just estimate, 50%. About 40% were good people who made bad decisions. And then you have 10% who are like career criminals. I'm a bad guy. Like, like the overwhelming majority of people are either mentally ill or mentally ill on drugs, or just have made a really bad choice. Mm-hmm. However, you cannot send a psychologist to go deal with these people. You cannot, because these psychologists, there's certain things you just don't learn in college. Mm-hmm. Like to get into law enforcement, there's a reason you have to take a psychological evaluation. Mm-hmm. And you have to go through a battery of tests and everything, because they need to know, like, if somebody's running at you with a knife in their hand, they're butt naked, covered in their own feces, are you going to be able to respond to that? They don't teach psychologists how to deal with that. You're putting these people in danger. You're putting everybody in danger. And I don't like it.
But that's
And
why I hate lawmakers, and I hate people that have such strong opinions on it, but they're not in the field. They don't know what it's like to be in that situation. So they're asking for laws and legislation to be placed on this field that they have no idea the ramifications of what they're going to do. They don't understand that sending that untrained, they might be clinically trained to diagnose what that person's going through, but as far as combatives and defensive tactics, they're untrained in keeping themselves safe into the most dangerous situation they can go to without a weapon. Is just crazy. They will be murdered, and then now we're got a whole nother situation on our hands. So I hate when I see people get online and they have such strong feelings and emotions for it, but they don't understand what it is. And I was one of those people at one point when in high school, all the way up until I graduated from my undergrad, and then when I joined the military, I used to be like, why do the cops do it this way? Why do the cops do it this way? But then I was like, I took the extra step. I was like, you know what? I did a ride along with the police department that was near me, but I didn't feel like that was enough experience. So I joined the military. I did law enforcement in the military, and I got to see firsthand what it's like to be a law enforcement officer and the crazy things you experience on a daily, and why you can't send anybody but law enforcement in those situations. Right. You can either only send law enforcement or you don't send anybody.
Right.
Because if you don't send law enforcement and you send some notebook carrier, they're gonna die.
Yeah.
Fast.
There's no. It's one of those things where it's like talking about abortion. There's no good answer.